A repeat of something that you heard reported to you directly a moment ago from KRLD television in Dallas, and that is the rumor that has reached them at the hotel that the president is...
One shot fired, and the birds flew away from the trees. They said Lee Harvey Oswald was a communist, which is why the bullets came from the left. 2 shots fired, you heard I'm hit, leaned in so close either to whisper or to kiss. 3 shots fired and you were sprayed with skull fragments and mist. People screamed, his head flew back and you scampered onto the back of the trunk, grabbing the peace of mind that your husband had been shot in the face. Remember, when you leaned in so close on your wedding day, laughed at the fragmented images of the people passing past you in the pews, being sprayed by mists of rice, chasing the doves out of the cathedral as you emerged into the sunlight where the wedding bells sounded off like gunslingers showing off their mighty pistols. Remember, when you first met, Montague to Capulet, Romeo to Juliet, your mother said never fall in love with a Kennedy, but you couldn't help it. He had a smile that promised you the moon and a brain that gave you NASA and had it delivered to your doorstep in a public display of affection. You were 2 kids that got lost in each other's eyes, imagining what it would be like to grow up and play White House. But as soon as the wedding band was on your finger, it started serenading a swan song, for the crickets of his inattention started sounding off between the grandfather clocks chiming in the presidential bedroom. You could see it in his eyes. The way the branches tapped on the windows, as regimentally enough, it sounded like the footsteps being had in Vietnam, ghostly enough to remind him of the blood had on his hands. This is not the man you fell in love with. This was not the future he promised. In a private conversation, you looked him dead in the eyes and said, Johnny, I'm gonna leave. And he stood before you for a moment, broken. And then started throwing a temper tantrum and called it the truth, started slamming doors in front of the military's face, started screaming World Bank secrets to the public. He did it all for you, Jackie. Because you were the most beautiful thing in this world when you smiled, and Lord knows it had been forced for far too long. And next to his country, love was the future worth dying for. And that's what we learned on the day you wore your pink Coco Chanel suit with matching pillbox hat, and 1 shot was fired, and the birds flew away from the trees. You wore his blood on your clothes for 3 days to show the world what it looked like to sit next to a future worth dying for, much like he had done for you.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.